So it was during these cycles of violence in 2012 that you gave Mr. Depp a knife as a gift.
I gave him a knife, I think for a birthday present early in our relationship. I believe it was around 2012, but I'm not certain.
We've seen a picture of that knife, but I think we should bring out the real thing. Master Deputy Halusa, Master Deputy Sheriff Halusa, may I please have you show the knife to Ms. Heard?
Yes, that's it.
That's the knife you gave to the man who was hitting you, right, Ms. Heard?
I wasn't worried he was going to stab me with it when I gave it to him, that's for certain.
But you gave it to him while he was abusing you, allegedly.
I gave it to him that year.
Testified to being bent over backwards on the bar, right?
That is correct.
And then feeling pressure on your pubic bone like Mr. Depp was punching you. Yes?
That's what I thought.
And then further down on page 4521 and on to 4522, you testified that you were concerned Mr. Depp was using a broken bottle on you. Yes?
That was my fear.
Okay.
That's what I remember feeling.
Ms. Heard, I'm going to show you Defendant's Exhibit 1816. Which has already been admitted.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You saw this picture during your direct examination, right?
I did.
And you testified that this is a picture of the bottles that were next to Mr. Depp on a desk when you found him drinking in the morning, right?
That's correct.
And this was the morning after Mr. Depp had allegedly sexually assaulted you, right?
It was the morning after he did assault me. Yes.
And if I understood your testimony correctly, you testified that this is the Maker's Mark bottle that Mr. Depp sexually assaulted you with.
I was never sure it was, but it was definitely that shape. Felt like that shape.
But you testified in this courtroom that you had not seen this bottle until Ben King provided these photographs, correct?
Not in the course of the trial. I hadn't seen the photograph.
Your testimony yesterday was, quote, I don't know if I've ever known Johnny not to wear rings. Right, Ms. Heard?
That's what I testified to, yes.
Okay. And he was wearing rings on every finger in Australia, correct?
Not all the time, not literally every single ring, every single day, but he often wears rings.
Not often, Ms. Heard. Your words are, I've never known Johnny not to wear rings on every finger.
That is what I testified to.
Okay. And you testified that you bled as a result of this sexual assault, correct?
That is correct.
All right. And you testified that your forearms were cut.
My forearms and my feet.
And your feet were sliced up.
That's correct.
And you testified you had a bruise across your jaw.
That is correct.
And there is not a single medical record reflecting treatment for any of those injuries, is there, Ms. Heard?
I didn't seek treatment.
And the day after you sustained all these injuries, Dr. David Kipper came to the house in Australia, right?
Well, he came the third day, along with security.
The day after you sustained these injuries, Dr. David Kipper came along with nurse Debbie Lloyd, correct?
Well, that fight went into the morning, like early hour morning, so technically that last day.
Dr. David Kipper is Mr. Depp's, or was Mr. Depp's physician, right?
I believe he still is.
But
Yes.
he was at the time.
Yes, that's correct.
And he was also your physician.
He also saw me.
No, not saw you. He was your physician, correct, Ms. Heard?
Johnny was the client, but he also treated me.
And he was your doctor at this point, right?
Yes, he was.
Debbie Lloyd also came to the house that day.
Yes, she came with Kipper.
Yeah. Miss Lloyd is a nurse, correct?
That is correct.
Malcolm Connolly also came to the house that day.
Yes, that's correct.
Mr. Connolly is one of the security guards, correct?
That is correct.
You had known Mr. Connolly for years at that point.
Yes, that's correct.
You flew back to Los Angeles the next day with Ben King. Is that right?
I can't be certain if it was the next day or the day after, but somewhere around there, yes.
And the day you arrived back in Los Angeles, you saw Travis McGivern, correct?
I don't recall seeing Travis, no.
You don't recall Mr. McGivern picking you up from the airport with Ben King?
I don't remember that, no.
Okay. And the same day, you also saw your own nurse, Erin Barem Filati that day, correct? The day you arrived in Los Angeles?
I don't recall if I saw her that day.
You saw Ms. Filati's testimony in this case by video deposition, correct?
That is correct.
And you heard her testify that she saw you the day you arrived back from Australia on March 9th, 2015.
I believe she testified that she came to dinner where I was with friends. Yeah, I believe that.
So she saw you that day.
I believe that evening I saw her at dinner.
Okay. And then you saw Erin Barem Filati again the next day for a private meeting, didn't you?
I'm not sure if that's what she testified to. I'd have to just see the records to know.
You heard her testify according to her notes. She met with you privately on March 10th, 2015.
She met with me at some point upon my arrival, but I don't remember the exact date.
And when you were in Australia, Ms. Heard, you didn't take any pictures of the injuries you claim to have sustained, right?
I did not take any pictures, no.
So it's your testimony that Ms. Lloyd would forget that Mr. Depp, a very famous patient of hers, threw a can of Red Bull that nearly missed her, according to your version of events?
To be fair, I just don't remember if she said when she testified that she didn't recall that incident or if it didn't happen. I don't remember what she testified to. But I have a vague sense that she didn't recall much at all.
She recalled, and she testified in this courtroom, that Mr. Depp never threw a can of Red Bull at her. That was her testimony, wasn't it?
I don't recall what her testimony was with regards to that one incident, no.
You actually filed a complaint against Ms. Lloyd's nursing license right before she was supposedly deposed in this case, didn't you?
No, I don't believe I did.
Are you aware that someone filed a complaint against Ms. Lloyd's nursing license in connection with her care of Mr. Depp for failing to report abuse?
No, I had no idea. You're the first person to let me know about that.
It's your testimony under oath, that wasn't you?
But that is my testimony. I didn't even know about that until now.
Travis McGivern was also present when Mr. Depp supposedly attacked you, correct?
He walked in at some point.
And you heard his testimony that it was actually you who punched Mr. Depp. Isn't that right?
It's always been my own testimony that I hit Johnny.
And you who was throwing things at Mr. Depp.
I hit him in defense of my sister. I didn't have anything to throw at him. I never threw anything at him. I hit him when he attacked me and my sister, specifically when he moved for her. That's when I hit him.
So it's your testimony under oath. You threw nothing at Mr. Depp. Mr. McGivern's lying.
I have thrown things at Johnny, to be clear, but not that occasion.
That evening.
Not on that occasion.
So it's your testimony, Mr. McGivern imagined that you were throwing things at Mr. Depp from the mezzanine level down towards where Mr. Depp and Mr. McGivern were standing.
Well, he certainly wasn't going to say it about his client.
But I'm sure of one thing, and if it's that I can't imagine my life without you. I love you. I will do better. I am sorry. X Slim. Did I read that correctly?
That is correct.
It's your testimony this was a love journal?
That is correct. It was primarily love notes and
apology notes from you to Mr. Depp?
The book was more of a love note book, and part of that communication, obviously, since we fought so much, it was important for me to, try to nurture as much peace as we possibly could. And when things were good, they were really good.
And it was also an opportunity for you to apologize to Mr. Depp for your behavior, isn't it?
I think it's important in every relationship to apologize when you're trying to move past fights. I was always trying to fix it.
Fix it by apologizing for your bad behavior?
I tried everything.
That's why you felt comfortable having James Franco over the evening of May 22nd, 2016, Ms. Heard?
I do not know when James came over.
Okay, let's remind you.